Hey folks, I recently had the privilege of hosting and commentating the 2025 World Cup Scrabble Championship right here on this channel. And this year, Scrabble fans had extra reason to get hyped. Nigel Richards would be returning to North American tournament play for the first time since 2018, giving us all a chance to watch the GOAT do GOAT things in real time. As if on cue, he started out with 18 consecutive wins and soon put himself in position to clinch victory early, needing just one more win against his closest follower in the standings, veteran expert Jon Shreve. The round 28 game between these two was an incredible experience of watching Scrabble history unfold in real time, including what may well be the best Scrabble endgame we've ever seen. Jon has the first move, and with only one vowel, his options are severely constrained, leading to his top scoring move of Docks for 22. This innocuous looking play actually gives Nigel multiple bingos in response. He can play Adulting for 63, but instead opts for Luxating for an additional 7 points. Nigel is known for almost never playing a phony word, but his play blocks Jon's possible response of twirled, and Jon clearly doesn't remember luxating, leading him to surprisingly challenge Nigel's play, losing his turn in the process when it comes back valid. Only after he sits back down from the challenge does he spot his bingo of Twiddler through the D of Docks, but Nigel's response of Bigs for 14 just barely blocks it, leaving Jon with nothing that good to play. So he plays Wad, hoping to draw a bingo ending in E that will play in multiple spots on the board afterwards. Sensing strength from Jon, Nigel responds with Gulp for 13, blocking the easier of the two bingo lines. Jon has only two playable bingos now of Minstrel for 67 and Marlight for 66, but both of these dangerously open triple word scores back to Nigel, and he works up the courage to try Merliton for 71, scoring better and creating a more favorable board position. Unfortunately, this word can only be spelled with an I in place of the E, and Nigel challenges it off the board. With complete knowledge of Jon's tiles, Nigel knows he can't technically stop Jon from bingoing next turn. His standard play of Tau will give back Milters for 71, so he makes a nice adjustment to play Tian instead, which would force Jon to slide Milters over one square, yielding a potentially very nice scoring spot back. Jon then spots one of the moves he could have played previously in Marlight for 66. This move now gives Nigel Ramulos for 76 in response, and Jon draws a weak-looking vowel-heavy rack. However, he buckles down to find his only bingo of the very nice Metanoia for 83, and despite the rocky start to the game, he's now pulled back even. Nigel hammers his high-scoring tiles with Fink for 46, and Jon draws horrendous tiles after his bingo, including 3 Rs, essentially forcing him to play Prod for 19. Nigel can't do much with the new opening, instead playing his top move of Kibe for 33, and Jon's imbalance goes from bad to worse with an all-consonant rack. He again makes a strong play of Were for 22, hoping for vowels, but Nigel draws an S to hook prods and plays the bingo of Leisure for 83 to surge further ahead. Jon continues to battle, playing his top move by far of Zinco for 57, retaining his S and maybe sometimes catching Nigel without an adequate response to the Z. But Nigel has Oye for 48, keeping the synergistic TECH combination. There's one additional benefit of keeping the T and H together here. With an A draw, Nigel will have the amazing extension of Athleisure for 39. And while Jon draws the J along with the second blank and could consider playing Jade for 30, blocking that extension in the process, he instead plays Jag, leaving it open, and Nigel draws the A he needs for his 10-letter extension play. However, unlike the vast majority of players who would simply slap it down right now just to show off, if they even saw it at all, Nigel instead plays Vector for 38, and the reason is simple. It's just a better play, shedding the clunky V for a similar score without opening the board further and allowing him to redraw one of the two remaining T's for the extension later. There's one other reason Vector is better than Athleisure. It uses more tiles, depleting the tile bag enough that Jon can no longer bingo twice from here on out. He does have one playable bingo now of the bizarre looking Enskied with a blank K for 81, but he instead plays the very reasonable Day for 30, sadly blocking the Athleisure extension for good. Right? Well, Nigel can follow up with the natural-looking Cat for 30, blocking multiple bingo lanes in one move, but he instead plays Aqua for 33, blocking nothing while holding all of the letters for Athleisure in reserve. What could he be planning? Well, looking at the unseen tiles, it's entirely possible that Jon will play a bingo forming ED on the board down this column. If that were to happen, holding the Athleisure letters would suddenly become incredibly valuable once again, and it's all thanks to one little word, Ed, a letter from the Old English alphabet. However, despite holding excellent bingo tiles, Jon doesn't have a bingo placing an E in this spot. His best available move is the gorgeous Manifest for 87, but he instead plays the solid Unfasten for 74. This should create a relatively simple endgame, with Nigel boasting plays like Heater for 42. However, the final tile in the bag is the V, which sets up an absolutely unforgettable endgame sequence. Nigel's first order of business is realizing that Jon has only one spot available for his V, hooking Ow to form Vow. There are plenty of ways he could block this. Just playing How or Toe would do the trick, allowing him to use the rest of his letters however he wants while Jon helplessly passes his turn, a situation known as a stick. However, Nigel instead plays an absolutely brilliant move, R for 9 points. Why use two tiles to execute your V stick rather than just one? Well, this is Nigel's only option to stick Jon with the V while also retaining all of the E, A, T, and H on his rack. These four tiles are necessary for the next part of Nigel's plan. After Jon passes his turn back to Nigel, Nigel then plays the beautiful 3-point move of just Ed, reopening the square above Leisure to allow the H to fit again. After another pass from Jon, Nigel follows up with the final stroke of his master plan. Athleisure now scoring an incredible 60 points. After one more pass and Nigel's Yo for 10, Nigel wins by a final score of 559 to 404, clinching tournament victory in the process. Nigel Richards has played many incredible endgames in his career, but this one might just top them all. The eventual sequence here was absolutely brilliant, but the fact that he had the patience to play Vector earlier in the game when Athleisure was readily available was vintage Nigel. His play of Aqua over the more customary Cot suggests that he was aware of this entire sequence long before it materialized. Lastly, the fact that this game clinched tournament victory and that it was watched live by an audience of well over 1,000 concurrent viewers really puts it over the top for me. It was truly amazing to watch this game unfold in real time. And if you were there watching along with me, please let me know in the comments what your thoughts and memories were from watching this game. I would love to hear them. I will put a link in the video description to the original live stream so you can watch that if you're curious to see how it all went down. And finally, I want to reiterate one other point that I made on the live stream, which is I and many others have been working very hard for a while now to grow the audience for competitive Scrabble. And I've had a goal of reaching over 1,000 concurrent viewers on a live stream for over 5 years. And this was the stream where we finally hit that goal. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who have watched any Scrabble streams, watched my videos, taken an interest in Scrabble. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. On that note, I have one final announcement to close out today's video, and it is a big one. I am launching Patreon. My main motivation for doing this is to be able to afford more outside editing help without turning YouTube into a net negative for me financially. Don't worry, I'll still be releasing my usual videos on YouTube every week, but for those with the interest and the means to help me cover the costs of running my channel, you'll get a bunch of extra perks, including patron exclusive content like Will's Play of the Week, early access to bigger projects, an invite to my newly created Discord server, and for the highest tier of support, the ability to submit your own Scrabble games for me to review. With the extra time I save, I'm also hoping to finally make a long-awaited return to live streaming. So there you have it. Patreon is now a thing, and whether you choose to become a supporter there or whether you just continue to watch the YouTube videos I put out on my main channel, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one.